Another question I don't have the answer to. We asked it yesterday. Who's going to be the quarterback for UNC? Because I'm having, and I said this yesterday, and go back and find it on our YouTube, I'm sure. I'm having a hard time talking about UNC football until we know the quarterback. With the idea being they're so different, right? Connor Harrell runs a 4.4 according to Mack Brown. Like, he is a dual threat through and through as a quarterback, little undersized, but runs a 4.4 40. Max Johnson, the incoming transfer from Texas A&M, 6'5", laser rocket arm. The only season he started an entire season was 2021 at LSU. He totaled negative 39 rushing yards. Again, with the caveat that in college, sacks count against your rushing yardage. So it's not that bad. But he's a pocket passer. How can I talk about UNC when I don't know if they're going to be running an offense with a guy that runs a 4.4 or a guy who's 6'5" and a statue in the pocket?
Or how their opponent's defenses are going to be scheming up against them. I thought that was a great point that you brought up yesterday.
It's 100% true. How do you get Omari and Hampton going? Is it by keeping them honest through the air? Or is it by a couple quarterback runs so now they know they have to let a linebacker, a safety, an edge kind of play off to contain Connor Harrell even on a fake? It's hard to know. So it's hard to talk about what UNC is going to do as a team until you know that answer. But we can still talk about the actual quarterback competition. We can talk about which would you choose. And I actually get to hit one of my favorite analogies. This isn't even necessarily who's the best, right? Because that is what you would assume, right? Who's going to start, Connor Harrell or Max Johnson? Who's the best? It's not always that. Right, it's the analogy I use is who's better, the Foo Fighters or Jay-Z, right? Because if you like rap music and you hate rock music and loud guitars, you're going to say Jay-Z. If you think rap isn't real music and you need a drum and a bass and a guitar, you're gonna pick the Foo Fighters. That doesn't say equality. That doesn't say which one's better. That says what you like. Connor Harrell or Max Johnson. Part of the conversation isn't who's better. Part of it is, do you want a guy who can run or do you want a guy with a ton of experience throwing the football? That's not who's better. That's the style that you choose. So Chip Lindsey, who is the offensive coordinator for UNC, is one of the guys that gets to help make that decision. Obviously, Mack Brown will sign off on the final decision, but Chip Lindsey is going to have a big amount of input, large amount of input into that decision. And let's try to see if we can disparage or discern, that's a better word, discern a little bit about what Chip Lindsey's looking for. Here he is answering the question on if he has an idea who's going to be the starting quarterback.
I'll just say this: we're rotating guys still, all three, and really somewhat sometimes of a reward system, like based on depth chart, who plays the best the day before, but they're all getting reps with the one still rotating through. So not really ready to make a decision. Really won't have to. We're still not quite 3 weeks from playing, but I think all three are eager learners. I mean, they study. And if we can limit, some of that even on the field from a standpoint of just mental errors, I think all three have the ability for sure. And I really enjoyed being around them, and I think they're all growing and getting better each and every day.
They're rotating. That's what I take out of all of that, right? There's a lot of coach speak there. They're working. They're getting better. They're this. They're that. They're awesome. They're great. They're rotating. They're still rotating reps.
They're practicing each with the ones. Each one's practicing with the ones.
That's, I believe, and assuming he's not lying, which Chip Lindsey's never done anything to me to make me think that he's not going to be open and honest with us. He could coach speak us till we're crazy, right? He doesn't have to give us information. Coaches are pretty good about talking for 5 minutes and saying nothing. So when they do say something, I tend to believe them. If they're rotating, this is still a competition, right? There's usually a practice or two where the coaches have a pretty good idea who the quarterback's going to be, but they don't want to formally announce it yet. They want to see how they react. So they give the quarterback like all the ones, meaning all the first team reps for like a day or two before making it official. If they're still rotating, they're not even there yet. Chip Lindsey was asked if he's seen any separation from any of the three quarterbacks.
I think it's day to day. I mean, there's some days one will have better than the other. When you look at those three guys, Max obviously has a lot of experience, but at the same time, here at Carolina in our offense, he's not the most experienced. And anytime you change schools, terminology is different, some concepts and so forth. Connor has an advantage there for sure because he's been here with me a year, and then Jacoby's come in the summer, and really, for the short time he's been here, it's been really amazing to see how he's grown, understanding terminology in the offense.
That little bit he said about how it's different every day is why this is so difficult. Unless you're comparing Patrick Mahomes to the quarterback of the local high school, right? Unless you're comparing really drastic talent levels, there's going to be days where different guys are throwing it better, right? I've been through a college quarterback competition, right, where the coaches were splitting reps, and it was Monday, you get the first one out there, Tuesday, you get the first one out there, and switch on Wednesday. Like, I've been there, and I can tell you this, when you have a great practice, right, you get in the zone a little bit, you're dicing, you're slinging it, you're spinning it, you're walking off the field going like, man, they should name the quarterback today. We're going to go shower up, head to team meeting, right, before we hit dinner. They should walk up there, name the quarterback today. Then you go out there the next day, maybe the next day after that, you have a little off practice. You and the wide receivers aren't on the same page. You maybe get fooled by the defense once or twice. You're walking in going, oh, there's no way they can name it today. They'll wait till the end of the week at least, because it fluctuates like that. There's days, I'm sure, where Max Johnson is dicing. There's days, I'm sure, where Connor Harrell is dicing. The coaches can't get caught up in that because they have to think what's best for our offense every day. This is why they're paid the big bucks, meaning Chip Lindsey and Mack Brown. It's not an easy decision, especially when nobody is taking themselves out of the competition, right? That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is sometimes a quarterback competition, particularly one like this, right, where you're going to depend on the running game a lot. You're going to depend on the defense a lot, right? This is not a quarterback competition where you recognize your offense is going to have to score 48 points a game. This is a quarterback competition where you realize it's going to be a lot of handoffs and just don't drive it off the road. So usually what you're looking for there, sometimes guys will play themselves out, right? What I mean by that is a lot of turnovers in practice.
Yeah.
You throw interceptions enough, coach will not feel bad giving it to the other guy, even if the other guy's not doing anything spectacular, right? He's throwing it away rather than throwing it to the defense. It doesn't seem like Connor Harrell or Max Johnson are going to make it that easy for the coach.
Seems like they're really limiting their mistakes whenever they do get their reps with the ones.
Coaches want you to make that decision easy for them, right? Players, if you're doing everything you should, if you're leading the way you should, if you're showing up on time, if you're putting in the work, if you're limiting mistakes, if you know your playbook, you make it really difficult, and it seems like that's what they're doing. Let's jump to the Chip Lindsey clip on what Connor Harrell has improved on.
I think Connor's a much more accurate thrower. I think he's improved in that. The work he's put in to get his body in the right position every time he throws, because I think obviously he has a great arm. He can really throw it. But sometimes his body was out of whack some, and Clyde's done a great job helping him with that, and we've really pushed him to work on these things. Stay balanced. Don't fall off. Don't be out on your front foot. Stay back. And he's really worked hard on those things. I think those things are paying off, and I think it's a continuous thing to keep improving each and every day. And what I like is he's really pushed himself to try to improve and not just stay the same. And we asked him to do that. He's a great kid, and he's trying. He's doing a good job.
That's what Connor Harrell has improved on for UNC football. Let's hear what Max Johnson has improved on, again, from their offensive coordinator, Chip Lindsey.
Yeah, Max, with Max, I think for him it was still just pocket presence, being able to understand where his drop needs to be. He's a big kid. He's 6'5", similar to Drake, so sometimes he could get a little deep. So it was good to see him understanding, hey, in this protection, this is where the O-line thinks you're going to be. You're going to be around, 8.5, 9 yards. Now this one, you're going to be about 7 yards, and making sure that his feet are in a good spot. I think his footwork's really improved, and that's something I think that we asked him to do out of spring.
They're both doing what they should. Until we know which one, and sometimes you just have to pick. All right, you're both doing great. I trust you both. It's you. You just have to pick sometimes. Sometimes it's age. Sometimes it's, hey, you're younger. You might stick around longer. There you go.
Chip Lindsey and Mack Brown behind closed doors in their final practice meeting leading to the first game. All right, Chip. Head Harrell.
Yeah.
Tails Johnson.
All right, here we go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by his toe. Like sometimes it's you need to pick one. But the fact is, and it's not just us that are on hold until that quarterback decision is made.
It's the rest of the team.
I can't talk about the offense as a whole with any kind of certainty until we know which quarterback is taking the reins. A lot of that, like the rest of the offense, can't really take the next step forward until they know who's taking the reins. Right now, you're asking them to take 2 steps forward in 2 different directions, which is really tough. Which is why coaches don't like this to drag on, and it's why Mack Brown said it won't go into the week of game prep.
I know we've talked about this before, but if I had to make a prediction on when the decision is going to come out, I would say it's going to have to happen this Saturday because they'll have Sunday and Monday off, Monday being the first day of classes for North Carolina's campus. And then when they go into Tuesday, it's a short game week getting ready for Minnesota. And like you said before, you want to announce it the day going into the off day so you kind of have the day to just kind of realize, all right, I'm going to be the starting quarterback for this team moving forward. And then the following day, you want to have that extra day just to go into the film room and start breaking down Minnesota's defense. And then Tuesday coming out and actually being the leader on the field at the quarterback position.
Their first game, I believe, is 16 days away. Mack Brown has said 7 is the latest he'd want to do it. I think he gets it done before that. I think he gets it done probably early next week is the way I think it would roll.